Good morning, everybody. It's definitely morning today. It's an early start today. Right. Let's get into it. Everybody ready? Let's try not to get frustrated with things when they don't go right. Today. Right. Sometimes programming can be very frustrating. Most of the time, it's very rewarding and creative. But damn, when it doesn't work, it's hard work, isn't it? You all know what I'm talking about if you've done any software development. Right, so what are we trying to do? We're trying to make a GUI still for the Planner app. We've got a little CLI Planner app and we need a GUI for it. The CLI app only works with one project, the GUI app needs to work with multiple projects, we've got to change that. We've also got to actually try and display some of the project information today. I think that's what we're going to try and do. This is kind of good. Now that we've sort of worked out some of this, how the hell do we use these GUI frameworks and whatever, we might actually be able to make some progress. I mean, I said that yesterday. We did make progress yesterday, but it was a struggle. Oh, dearie me, it was a struggle. Right. Anyway, I'm feeling good today, so let's do this. Let's do this. Right, where do we get to? Here we go. Code. Here we go. Let's look at the code. Look, I can point at the code now as well. This is great. Yeah, should have changed my little camera thing around a long time ago, but never mind. Anyway, so let's run it and remind ourselves where we are. Okay, here we go. Right, so I did a little bit of cleanup yesterday after the stream. And I deleted the old, the temporary document tab and the temporary project tab that were appearing when we first start the app. So now, when we create project, we get this little dialog, which currently appears off screen, and I have to drag it in every time, which is a bit annoying. Because really, I want it sort of created relative to the Planner app itself. So I don't know how exactly we do that yet. And for now, we've just got a dot here. At some point, we'll change this so that we can pick a directory, but that's not for today. And then we've got the name and we've got the path, right? And we can click cancel on it, and it doesn't do anything. And we can close the window, and it doesn't do anything. But if we click OK, you can see by the logs at the bottom of the screen down here that now, when we close the pop-up, it's recorded the name and the path, and then it passed over the name and the path to the application core, and the Planner app receives that properly now, which is very good. And then it saves the project, which is good, using the correct path, and it reports that it created it. And then we get to navigate it. Now, yesterday we didn't have the path in this project load thing. What you're looking at here is just a base 64 encoded path, basically. It's just a base 64 version of this. Right. I encoded it into base 64 because I didn't really want to deal with any other kind of encoding or anything like that. The problem was if paths have got slashes in them, which they do, and we use those slashes as separators for our navigation system, then we run into issues. So the best thing to do is to do some encoding which doesn't use slashes in the character set. So base 64 seemed to work out alright for that. Seems reasonable, was fairly easy to do. So now the app core can tell the client, the shell, the GUI, to navigate to this. And for our GUI app, that involves opening a tab and telling it to load a document. So we have that. So it goes open project path, and this is in the GUI, right? And then a tab is added with that information. Now at the moment, what you might have noticed if you're paying close attention is that the tab says loading at the top, right? And that also when we do the navigate method, which was somewhere. I've lost the log now. Come on, where is it? Here it is. Where is the navigate? Come on, show me. There. When we do this, when we do the navigate, we don't have the name anymore. Sure, I mean, it's here, but that's no good. We don't really want to pass any extra information on this navigate thing. I mean, potentially we could go down the whole query string route to navigate to things, or bookmarks and I don't know, stuff like that. But I decided that wasn't a good idea for now. Oh, hold on a second. My doorbell's here. Back in one moment. Right, sorry about that. It's Senor Amazon delivering me some packages. Right, anyway, so we were talking about the fact that we don't have the name in there, but we still have to create the new tab. But if we don't have a name, the only thing we can put on here is like loading or the name of the file. So I decided to go with loading. And then when we click on it, ideally what we want to do is it loads the project from the path and it tells you what its name is. I decided that because when later when we've added the ability to open a single file, we're going to want to have the same behavior. So we're just going to say loading, it loads the file, and then there's the name. Because you only know the name on the correct project because that is used to build the file name, but you don't know it when you're opening a file. So that's why I went with loading there rather than the name of the file. I suppose I could put the name of the file in both cases, but yeah. So, although that does create a problem, because now obviously we're going to need to update the name of the tab, and we don't have any functionality to allow us to do that yet. So we'll deal with it. So the next thing we've got to try and do is make it display something over here. Now we wrote some code for this the other day, but we hadn't had any way of using it yet. But I think we're pretty much at the point where we can. So, yeah. Right, now yesterday, I also pulled out the, where are they? The pop-ups into a module, and then inside that module, we now have the new project pop-up. So, sort of organised and restructured some of the code a little bit. So, we'll just do the commit for that. Which is moving the code, yeah, that's all good. And that's the code that we moved. And then, I'm not sure about this state thing. It might be that we move this state out of here, but for now it's in there. Because this really is sort of used by the main window rather than anything else. Yeah. Yeah, okay, fine. So move pop-up to a module. Done. All right. Okie dokie. So how do we make this work then? So we've got a bunch of application events. When we create the project, we open the project, right? So when we go open project, it creates a new tab and creates an event with add tab on it, right? And then something else happens, but that something else that happens is delegated by, what should happen is delegated to the implementation of this particular kind of tab. So if you remember, we've got a project tab here. Here we go. So this is where we build the tab, and then this is where we can handle some events on there. So yeah, right. And then I suppose we also have the project itself as well. Let me just refresh my memory about this because it's been a little while. Yeah. Yeah, right. So we have a tab, but that's just for the tab. Right, it's the bit below the tab in the tab container that is where we need to do the majority of the work, not in the tab itself. Right, so we have this project, right? So we have various different events. One of the events that I think we need to hook into is the loaded event. Let's see where this is currently used, because we've been writing so much code and solving so many problems, can't even remember what's going on. Righto. Right. So, what's this project content? I don't even remember. Oh yes, I remember now. Yes. We tell the project to load, right? So this is probably where we need to futz around and do things. So we do two things in this load bit, right? One of the things we do is create a string, and this is all just temporary stuff, this is, right? And the other thing we do is update the list of sections, right? What we need to do today is, instead of manually creating this list of sections here, which are then added to a list view automatically because there's a lens on the project content for the sections, right, is transition this to like some project tree, which isn't really a tree. yet, because we don't have a tree view. So we're just going to do a pseudo tree for now, which is basically going to be a list. So, right. Now the way that we need to interact with that, this is an interesting question. How are we going to interact with the core, which is what you use to talk to the Crux part of the application, right? So in the main app, we go core.update like this, and we've got self.core. Now, in project content, we don't, and in project, we don't have this core thing. So how are we going to provide access to that? Because what we need to do is, something like this, basically. Let's write the code inside here that we need to actually do. I'm not really sure where it's going to go. Loads an event, yeah. Right, so we need to put the code in here which creates the event to the core, and then we're going to need some view rendering effect, which we created on Friday, I think it was, which needs to handle that. Oh dear. Oh, I think this might be a problematic day again. Oh no. I can see it coming. I can see it coming. Oh dear. Okay, fine. So we're not going to do create project, right? What we're going to do, the event that we need, we should have a list, is project tree. Project tree takes a reference, which currently is the ID of the project, but we've only got one at the moment. So that's easy to do. This is just the ID. Probably going to be that, right? And then the other thing that it needs is the path buff. Not quite sure why it needs that. But we'll just take it from well, the ID is the path. Let's just give it the path in both places for now. We need to sort out this mess at some point. The ID is the path for now. Right. This thing is supposed to be called ECX because that's what we're doing everywhere now. So and I don't know why this was called CP here. It's not supposed to be. Oh, this is yes, because this is a content proxy. Right. Okay, so we need to do that. We don't actually need to spawn anything here anymore, because this was just a simulation. So let's get rid of this spawning stuff. And I suppose we can just ooh. What was this? So this was using an event context. So that's fine. Well, that was lucky then. Let's just leave this sections empty for now. Right, so we need to deal with this self. So we've got this project content. In order to call update on this call, does this need a mutable call? Where was that? No. That's good then. Good. So we just need a reference to self core somewhere. How can we get that? So where have we got it? We've got this project content with calling load on it. Where is load called? So load is called on the project container. Passing a reference to the core from the container doesn't seem like a totally hideous idea. Project container. Where do we create a new one of those? Project container new, right? Right, and this is created from the tabs. Oh, no. And then build tab. It's called from here. Little bit tricky. I mean, I suppose we could create like tab args and create the appropriate tab args for the build tab thing and the, you know. I don't really like that, but yeah, I mean, another way of getting it might be to create like some signal or something that allows us to get it from anywhere globally, rather than passing it all around all the time, right? I think this is one of those cases. It's kind of like logging, right? You always want access to like some log context from everywhere you call like info and trace, and this app thing seems to be like something similar that's like that. So we need some kind of global state for that. Let's look at another example app that Vizia uses to see if the other devs do anything similar to what we need to do before we dive in and go down the rabbit hole of creating static mutts, right? So this is a project by the author of Vizia. Let's see if there's anything in here. So there's a database, look. Who saw the database? I saw a database. It's nicely organised code, isn't it? Look at that. But okay. What's in this data thing? Don't know. Okay, let's have a look at the main. Okay. Adding things to a context, creating timers, creating H-stacky stuff. Where's the app data in this thing? Yeah, who knows? See, the thing is, I didn't find anything in the main app which where's the oh, okay, right. So it's like early on initialization stuff is what I'm looking for. Right, this stream.play. Where's this stream thing? How do other things need to interact with this stream? You get a stream. How do things interact with this stream? It's a bit unknown. But I think this sample player controller is only going to be used in one place. Because basically we've got something which we need to use from lots of places. Because the app needs to use it in order to create projects and so on. And then the projects themselves need to use it. I don't know, maybe we should pass things in. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at this again then. Oh, but wait, wait a second. The tab is just... Yeah, but this is the thing that you clone around all the time, and then we've got a route to project tab. Clonable, you see, with references. No, not really what we want. How do we get the call to this method here so that we can keep a reference in the project container? This is clone as well. Why do we need clone on this? Yeah, let me just comment this out for a moment. Why is this moaning? What was this before? Oh, this is just because it was in a thread before, right? Right, but we don't need... Yeah, we don't need this. We don't need that. Okay, so it doesn't need to be cloned. This is good. Right. What did we just change? Project container. Right, project container. And this is where we create one of these, but we do it from the build tab. Because we need this core here, see. Now I'm gonna do something. What can we do? What can we do? We've got our main app, right? And somewhere we create a core. Who remembers where that was? Here. We've got this core service. You know, we could store this in something. We could store this in... I suppose it doesn't actually need to be mutable. And we can't create a reference statically. Is this one of those cases where you do like... I don't know. Do we need... What do we need to do here? I mean, like, we could use... My understanding of what Rust things you can do for, like, global state is not great when it comes to using the standard library. Because I've been doing lots of stuff in development, embedded development. And you don't use the standard library API for that. Because I can't go eat, because I've got nothing here, right? There is this like once cell thing that a lot of people use for this kind of stuff. To avoid like the option. So for instance, here's an example of a hash map being put inside a mutex. I mean, putting it inside a mutex might not be the worst idea. This one is used a lot by people. And yeah, and this was the other one. Should we be using RC for this or ARC? Thread safe reference counting pointer. Yeah, mutex. Let's see if there's an example of a mutex. Rust arc mutex. So the solution. Sharing data between threads. I mean, it's quite possible we want to share the core service between threads, right? So, sure. But we wrap it in this. Right. Maybe we don't need a mutex though. Because we never have to modify it. That's an interesting article. Let's bookmark that. Let's have a go at this then. Core service, and let's make it an arc of. We're going to make it an option because it's the only thing you can initialize with nothing. Option arc core service. Like that, maybe. We're going to try it. And then we're going to say, we've got this core. Now, I'm not sure how we can put this core inside the app data anymore, or whether we need to. Perhaps we don't need to. That's probably the answer. Okay, so we're going to create a core, but we're not going to do it like this anymore. We're just going to go core service dot. See, you can't replace it unless it's mutable, right? So, in that case, we probably do need this mutex so that we can update the thing. So probably a mutex. I don't know what we can do here. But it needs the inner type, right? Right? So potentially we can do this. I want to see how often this comes up on Google, right? Because, you know, not many times. Many times. Many times. Let's say Rust global state using mutex arc. Once lock, lazy static, once cell, atomics, manual. Static mutt singleton. Yeah, I suppose we could use maybe on init, it's true. And then you write to it. Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah. Mutex new is const now. Yeah, okay, that's good. Is lazy lock is in standard now? Oh, lazy lock is standard now. Maybe we can use this. Okay, initialize static variables, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right, that's what I want. So I want that. Okay, let's try it. Sure. Using thing from standard instead of like some random crate seems to be a good idea. But do we even need a mutex? I mean, we don't need a mutex if we don't need to write to it. So yeah, okay, let's try that. Lazy lock. What is it? A lazy lock of type core service, right? And then you go lazy lock new, and you give it a function. And we're going to put that in here. Right, like that. Now we don't have a core anymore, so now we need to change all the existing uses of app data core to use core service. Let's see if that works. So app data, no core service, goodbye. Right, and then we're just going to hit compile and see what happens. Right, so cannot be shared between threads safely. So something in the core service it's currently an RC. So should this be an arc instead? And then it says understood error static can't be sent between threads. So send is not implemented for error, which is required by lazy lock core service sync. Required here because it is in the type this from box. I don't know why we've got a box. Because it appears within the type here, because it appears here. I mean, you could just make the error a string, right? You know. I mean, what do we use this model error for? So we set it a lot, right? All for pretty much all for the same reason. And here's one place where we actually use it. And all we do with it is format it when we use the view. I think our error handling is rubbish as it is anyway. Let's just delete error from all of this because we don't even use any of this stuff right now. So we're just going to use this everywhere instead. Yeah, I suppose you can just go model.error. We'll just clone it. It's fine. Let's deal with the fallout of this. don't need an anyhow error. We can just format it. Right? And this is how we formatted it before, so we're just going to do this everywhere. I think we use this a few places. Sure. Building at build a lot. Oh. Oh, it's got a lot of these. At some point, we're going to have to review this error handling stuff anyway, so I'm not too worried about this change right now. Oh, that was supposed to be a .toString. Okay, well, how about now? Nearly. The last one. Right, let's see what happens now. What errors do we get now after doing all of that? Right, they're good. Now we're back to not failing to compile for reasons that we weren't expecting. Now we're back to dealing with compile errors that we were expecting, which is the missing core in here. So now we need to go core service, and then we've got, apparently we can just do that. That's kind of cool. Okay, does it work? It does indeed work. That works. Ah, surprising. So, yeah, okay, let's go back to this. So the app core. Let me just undo this and make it an RC again. because that, yeah, right. Okay, so that change was correct. It needs to be an arc there, not an RC. That's fine. Okay, so now, finally, in our project thing, where we're trying to load stuff, which was here, we can go core service and then do some stuff. Oh, I see, it wants a path buff. Okay. Right, that's good. So now we can finally see what happens here. Right, here we go. So we've got this, right, in our, where is it? In our core app, we've got a handler for project tree, and this is supposed to be creating a project tree and sending it back, right? Which it apparently did, and this is the first time we've done this. Right, so we've got a project tree. Well, the view is a project tree, and then it contains a project tree, and then it contains some items, and then it contains a bunch of tree items, one of which is the phases. Because this job only has one phase currently. Right. 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 So, this is good. I mean, it sort of worked. We hadn't actually run any of this code. But what we don't have is anything in the app core where it does anything with this view. Right? So we need to know what on earth to do with this. Now we've got this reference that comes back, and this reference, right? This reference can be used to find the tab. So where should that be handled? Where should that be handled? Where should it be handled? So obviously it shouldn't be handled here in process effect, right? And just because you've got a view, it doesn't mean we don't know, the app shouldn't know that it's even using tabs, right? So I guess it needs to emit an event. Let's just make it emit an event. ECX, what event? Let's go application event render view. And we'll just pass those two things in it. And then whoever's listening for that kind of event can do something with it, I suppose. But how do the messages? How do the messages like? Will our tabbed document, it's like a whole bunch of levels down, care about an event created at the application level? I'm not entirely sure about this because I don't think it does. I think it goes the other way. Like messages down here go to all the children up, and then into the root, but not the other way around. That's what I think I discovered the other day. Okay. And this is where we've decoupled the two systems, right? Yeah. Okay. Because I could just be passing the request operation like in here, right? But I don't think that's a good idea. So now we've got this render view and it's got a project view. But it's not decoupled it here. So should we bother doing that? I'm not sure we should. I think we should just be using these types. But I think we should extract it from the operation though and then pass the two things separately. Fine. Okay. So I'm not entirely sure about this dependency that we've just added here. Because look, it's the only one. I don't know yet. I don't know. Let's find out. And these are the two things that we need to do. So let's just ditch that from there. So back in the main thing, we've now got an application event. Now we could try and handle the application event from within inside the project, right? Inside this project container. But I don't think we should be doing that. But I am curious to know whether the message even gets here. The gardeners are here again. It's not my gardeners, it's someone else's gardeners. Right. So. Oh, this shouldn't be document. Tab document container. Wait. Oh, I suppose it is that. Yeah. Okay, we're fine. Where should we handle it? Like, we've got this render view thing here, right? So let's think about it here. Application event, render view, and we've got a reference and a view. Now we could I mean, do we because we could go ECX dot, do we have, yeah, and then go emit to, and then go self dot tab container entity. But the tab container entity probably shouldn't be handling application events. And if it didn't handle it, would it propagate back up to this and then just go around in an infinite loop? Probably. Let's have a look at the tab document containers event handling mechanism, right? So I suppose we could add a render view thing here. So let's not do that because it's probably a bad idea. Is this one taking it? Event, this is mapping it, right? So let's go event.take. Oh look, I realised that we don't need to do this. Right, and then you get the actual thing without copying them again, right? As opposed to references. Right, so the tab document container now I can take that reference out and then forward it. No, you see now it's got the, it shouldn't know about this type. There's a dependency that shouldn't be there. This dependency, it should not be there. This tab document container should know absolutely nothing about the views or the implementations of them. It shouldn't need to be recompiled. The only thing that should cause this to be recompiled is this stuff. So this doesn't feel right. I mean, we do have this. I mean, it's not entirely true because we've got this tab document. We've got tab document events for the different types of tab document, which sort of makes sense. Should it just forward all events to its children? I mean, I don't know about the event handling mechanism in Vizia. I think I'm struggling with that right now. Let's see if we can find something out. Docs and book, right? We've got the docs and we've got the book. Let's have a look, see what it says about events. Yeah, propagate through the tree up through the ancestors of the view. What if the thing that wants the stuff done using the core service passes itself to it, its entity to it? That might be a way of fixing this problem, because I don't like this at all. No, let's not do that. Right, I don't think this planner GUI should have this. No. Let's delete that. I don't like it. It's no good. It's no bueno. Right. The problem is we've got this event context. Process effect. Oh wait, no. I think we're okay. Okay, let's take this out of here, render view. Right, and we've got this core service. And let's, just for shits and giggles, go enum core event. And put it in here like this. Because when we're calling this update method, we pass in the event context. And the event context that's doing this is the one that's going to receive the message back again. So we're already doing it. So this can have that. Right, the main method should not know anything about project views. Right. Good. Let's fix that dependency. Good. And then we're going to do a core event instead of an application event. Because the application should listen to application events, and core events need to be handled by anybody that interacts with the core, right? Which is what our project is doing. So now the dependencies are right. Yeah, so look, we've got, you know, just one extra thing on here. So that looks better, right? So we've got a core event. So back in here on the project container, we can go does the event only get taken if it's... Yeah, okay. Right, I don't think we can use take here. Let's go event.map. Event meta. Maybe we should take it here, because the only thing that's... I'm not sure whether we should use take or map here. Let's do it with take until we know that we shouldn't. And we're going to say core event. And then we're going to match the event I'm going to go core event, which needs to be public. Render view. Right, but the problem is, okay, wait, project container. Does the project container know about its ID? It does. Right. And I suppose we can go if reference is equal to self.project.id, right? And then we do this. And we need to pass a reference to this. Right. So if this event is for the document that this container is for, then we do something with it. Okay. Okie diddly diddly dokley. So what have we got to do here then? We've got to... There's a lens on the content, right? So I suppose we need to match on the view and then futz around. Match on the view. Placement phase over view. Yeah, I mean this all seems fine. Let's get rid of these because we haven't dealt with these yet. Right. Now, we've got our project tree and we've received it. Yeah, you know, we've got our, what have we got in here? I suppose everything is in here. I suppose it sort of makes sense because it knows about it. Yeah, all right. We're going to try it like this for now. What's in this project tree again? We've got... It's got a bunch of items. Why don't we say self.content.sections is project tree. Now, I know that sections is a vector and project tree is a project tree, but let's change the sections to be the project tree now. Because that's what we want to do anyway. Right, and then we're just going to make this a project tree. Right, that was easy. Okay. Right, yeah, okay. Now when we display the project tree originally, we need to do stuff. And we've also got to deal with this active section thing. Let's call this active tree item. Let's rename this for section event to project tree event. Project tree event, right? Everything's fine here. So when we're rendering the view, we create a list, and this is where we pass in this, and it was called sections, but it's not called sections anymore, which didn't get refactored. So this should be project tree. And therefore, we need to rename this to be project tree lens. Okay. Yeah, and this is still called foo here. This should be active. Tree item lens. This should be is active, I suppose. This is actually an is active lens. Maybe is item active lens. Yes. Okay. But we need to get the label out of this thing. So we've got this item, but the item is currently is not the right thing because it was a string, but now it's a project tree item. Where does this item come from? This item comes from this. Project tree item. I suppose we have to do item.map. What? Because this is. It doesn't know what this is. What does a project tree contain? A project tree. Oh, right. Right, so this is okay. So we need to map this again to tree. Maybe like this. Right, and therefore it knows it's a tree item now. Good. Yeah, good, 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 good. So now we can finally go. We don't need to map it here, we can just use it directly, I think. Not entirely sure. Let's see, item dot, no, we do need to map it. And then we can go item dot, no, project tree item. We've got a reference to a project tree item. Oh, and these aren't public. So now we can go name and clone it. Why is it moaning? You don't need to, right, okay, fine. How about now? Okay, core event doesn't add debug. That's an easy problem to fix. Can't move out of tree items. We'll have a reference to it then, you know. Yeah, I knew it was going to get something like that. I don't really want to clone all the items from the tree. Oh, there's a map ref, isn't there? Okay, this is good. Why does it say, why does it think there's more? Oh yeah, okay. So we've got, and we basically don't care if it's not for us. We can fix that. What? Project tree item. That needs to be public. Ooh. Do you know this might actually work? No. 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 Okay. Do we see anything useful? So we've got a core event, render view, yada 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 yada. Right. So this reference. Not sure whether I've got a UUID encoded reference in the tab. Don't know. Okay, I think we're close. We are pretty close, I think. So somewhere in here. Let's print out here which one we are. Project ID. And we're going to print out this. Right. Because when we've got this core event, this reference here needs to match this project ID, and it might be that we screwed that up. I say we, I mean, there's no one else here doing this than me. Never mind. Right. And this whole manual testing thing is really annoying. We've got this core event. Where did I... Oh, we've got to click it first, haven't we? Yeah, there we go. Right, so we've got a core event. And we've got a project ID. Yeah. So this one's got double quotes on it like this, and this one doesn't. So it's probably the way that it's formatted where it's mismatching. Really, we need to use proper IDs for this at some point. Maybe the way that this reference is done is, so we've got this load here, and it's got project event, and we've got this load, right? So here, this ID is a string. Right. But when this view is created, the project ID is not right. So where does that happen? This project here the one that's given to this, no, this should be project. So the tab kind is built somewhere. This one. So we've got this ID, and we're doing it like that. And let's look for open project. There's the open project. So open project path here is like this. But it's currently a path buff, and we're doing a debug on it. Let's print the details of the tab out here. Right. Can we do that? I don't really think we should probably be doing debugging there, but it's probably going to be useful for us. Tab kind. It means that every single thing that we put in that project tab needs to be debugged. I'm not sure whether that's a good idea. I don't want to do that. I think that's a bad idea. Okay. But we already know it. We already know it. Why is this? How do we? Where's it getting screwed up? That's the question. Is it just my presentation of this? Render view. If I do this, what does it print out? Right, it's just, so it is the same, it's just the presentation of it that wasn't right. Fine. Okay, so why is it not working then? So let's see. Let's see if we get here. I suppose we could just put a breakpoint here for now rather than putting logs. Sometimes putting the logs on is useful to find out the history of everything that's going on, to trace things through. Other times not so much. We do get here. This is also, so it is right. So self-content project tree is project tree. So what's in this project tree? Step over this. Then we've got a project tree with some items, and it should have one thing in it. Phases, name and a path. So we've got the data. So why is nothing being displayed? I don't know. Because that should cause one of these closures to do stuff, right? This one should run again, but it does not. But why does it not? Because look, there is a lens on the content, and the thing that we're updating is the content. And this has a lens on it, and this. So and we're using the lenses properly here, as far as I know. Project container content, then project tree, and then get the items out of the tree, because the project tree itself is not a lens. So why doesn't this get redrawn? Why? Oh no. Fail. Project tree not being updated. When the lens data is changed. Why? Maybe there's something wrong with the list. See, it creates a binding. Right. Why only if the number of list items is different? But I'm not sure that's right. Okay. I'm not sure that's at all the right approach, because if one of the items in the list has now got a new name, it's not going to cause it to be redrawn. But that isn't our current issue. But like, I need to update the list if one of the items in it changes, as well as if the contents of the list gets, you know, shorter or longer. Like binding on the length of the list seems odd. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Does this even get hit? Yeah, let's switch tabs and see what it does now. How many items are in there? So what's going on here? So it's still not displaying anything. Maybe there's a different problem. Maybe there's a different problem, because when I switch tabs, look, I'm switching tabs and switch back to it, it hits this breakpoint. Does it do anything with these? No. So the list has a lens, on which you can call get, and there's no data associated with those, so we'd need to look into how this get method works. Sometimes immediate variable names are really handy when you're stepping through stuff in a debugger. Because the data that I wanted to look at was there, but now it's gone because it was never assigned to a local variable. But it's got a size of 0 on the project tree item. Yeah. Zero. So why does it think there's no items in this list? That's a bit weird, isn't it? Project tree lens is based from the project container's content. But we have an event handler which updates it here. And we're pretty sure... Oh no, I pressed the wrong button. And we're pretty sure that the project tree has some stuff in it. Project tree, item, size 1. Alright, and then we do this. We assign it to it. And here we've got our self again, and now we've got content, we've got project tree with one thing in it. Right? So where's it going? Why isn't this lens working? Is it a bug? Right. The list is not updating. Where's this list thing? Am I creating? No, I'm not. I'm not creating this wrong. I'm sure I'm not creating this wrong. I'm fairly sure I'm not creating it wrong. So we've got a project tree lens, right? Let's just grab this. Let's see. Let's see. Console. I'm asking for help in the Discord channel because it all looks right to me. So we've got new on this listing, and this is used by two things. It's used by this, which basically probably just passes it through from the args. Yeah. Let's look at the Vizia examples. Let's find the list. Is it? No. Where is it? Not bindings. Views, plural. Okay. List. And then let's find callers of this. Right. And see. If we can see anything interesting. So we've got a list lens. Oh, that's in the pick list. No, we don't care about pick lists or scroll lists. So let's look at this. And it's just going app data list, and this is probably going to be a vector of stuff. List. Yeah. Oh, this is a vector and tuple. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, but it's not another level deep like we are, though. It's not behind another thing that's got a lens on it, and it's not a property of one of the other things that we've got. Yeah. It's not a property of another structure that this references. And they're all like app data list, app data chips, yada yada yada, right? Yeah. Like, let's have a quick look at this one. When does this list ever change? Right. Because one of the things that I do is replace the list entirely rather than add or remove to it. I don't go like dot clear and dot whatever. Maybe we should be doing that. Let's just see. Because we're reassigning it, and that might be confusing it. Okay, look. Because we do this. How about we go dot clear? Can we do a clear? Why can't I call anything on this? Project tree is a project tree. Oh, okay. And this is stupid. Items dot clear. And then if we go dot items dot add, oh no, dot extend, isn't it? Extend using project tree dot items. No, I don't want to do this, but let's see if it fixes it. No, that doesn't fix it either. Well, you know, at least we don't have to actually do that, and there's some other issue. Wait a second. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? I'm just looking at the order of these events. Plot thickens. Okay, so let's put this back. So perhaps what's happening is the project tree gets created, we update the list, and then the other event happens, and then it's got this. Okay. So this is where we call load, and then it goes emit. Perhaps we're supposed to do this first. Let's try this. That might be where the issue is. So we say it's loaded, and then in the background we do some other stuff. Yes. Look, we've got phases there. This blue is hideous. Right, but great. Yes. What did we do? We did stuff. Amazing. Okay. It worked. So the thing we did was just reorder this. That was it. Fine. So this isn't really failing anymore. We're going to amend this. Update project tree from update project tree content, I suppose. Right. We actually did it. We did it. I'm shocked. I'm so shocked. I'm shocked. Look. This is amazing. we actually displayed phases, like something from the actual thing that we're trying to build a UI for. Because until this point, right, this UI hasn't actually displayed anything to do at all to do with the pick and place machine stuff, right? It's just been UI mumbo jumbo for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Right, so we've got phases. Amazing. Okay. Oh my good lord. Right. What's next? That's the question. What's next? I think it might be time for a break and a cup of coffee at this point, to be fair. Yeah, it might be. What to do next? I mean, we could go back and do stuff with the project, like itself, I suppose, like inside the core app. Probably we need to clean up the bit where these views are created. And also, one of the other thing that happened was this view renderer thing actually worked. Because if you remember, we used this view capability, which I don't know if this is what they intended it to do, but it's certainly a effect that I need from my client app, right? I don't know whether we should have like multiple Crux things, because apparently Crux apps are composable and you can have multiple different ones. And whether we should have a separate Crux app for like a single project, an instance of it per project, or whether we should just have one big one. We're going to need to answer that fairly soon, I think. Because Crux has this concept of like a renderer which has a view, right? But there's only one view for the entire Crux app, right? What do I mean by that? When we're creating a Crux app, impl app for planner, right? You have one view model only. Right? So you ask the app to do something, and it comes back and says, yeah, I did it. And you can use the renderer view, and it'll render this view only, because it's the only view that it can render. And you can ask it to do something, and you can either get an error back, and you might need to render the details of that error, or something else, like the details of the one project. Now, I suppose at the moment the app deals with one project. So I'm wondering whether we need to create multiple instances of this app at this point. I'm going to have to think about this. Right. So one of the things we did today that's a little bit funky was that in our main, well, we didn't even do it in the main. We did it outside of our main thing here, right? But imagine that if we created a new instance of a core service, right, for each document tab. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? Okay, let's think about this. Let's think about this some more. This is interesting. Because it might make some sense to do this. Because the CLI app, right, only ever works with one project at a time. So why would I want to update the main core app to work with multiple projects when one of the apps doesn't need that functionality? Interesting. I'm glad I didn't do that yet. Okay, so let's think about the UI, right? So imagine, right, instead of going create project and it asks for some details like this, imagine that this dialog was inside the tab that's already been created, and that tab has a reference to a core app which you can use to ask to create a project. So maybe we went through all this rigmarole of creating pop-up windows for nothing. Still, we learnt stuff. That's probably the right way to go, really, isn't it? So you create a tab, and inside that tab you have a form, and then you go OK, or whatever, right? And then at that point it interacts with the app, which is only dealing with one project. Then you've got another tab, and that might be created because you loaded something. So you create the tab, and then you tell the core service to load. Ooh, I like that idea better. Because then I don't need one static global core service thing, right? Which is probably going to be better. You know. And it also keeps the app simpler as well, because then I don't have to deal with this like reference ID thing as well. Ooh. Well, that looks like it's going to be a lot to work, doesn't it? Right. That's some food for thought, that is. Right. Yeah, I don't want to start anything new until I've thought about that and whether that's a workable approach. I think it is, off the top of my head. That's probably a workable approach. Right, so I'm going to get some lunch, and I've got some meetings. I've got some meetings, so I'm going to think about it and then decide what to do a bit later, and maybe start doing some of that, and we'll catch up on the next stream. So yeah, thanks for following along today, and don't forget to press the little like, subscribe button down the bottom. So yeah, just remember folks, it's only software. How hard can it be? We'll find out on the next one. See ya.